Thank you. I have all your attention now. Thank you very, very much for being here with us. My name is Matthew Jarabek, and it is my pleasure to welcome everyone here in person and as well all of our lovely attendees at home. So thank you all for being here. I do want to acknowledge that as guests, that Algonquin College is located on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin people. So we are really glad that you could all be with us here today at this first ever hybrid reaction. We've never done it before where we're split like this. And we do have a very exciting event for you today. We're gonna have some pitches, we're gonna go over all of that. I do just want to reference to the people at home that you have the chat. So please, at the bottom of your screen, you can be engaged there. There's gonna be information for you at the bottom about the student teams. And for all of you in the room, you'll get it right here. We have some posters up at the side if you would like to look at it there as well. So our agenda today, we're going to be looking at that. It's right up there if you're a visual person, but I'm going to read it out for you as well, just so you know. So welcoming and opening remarks, that's already started. We're doing that right now. There will be finalist announcement and the presentations, what we're really all here for. We will have the judges panel Q&A, keynote speaker presentation, which I'm very excited to do with Carl, who has joined us today, and closing remarks, and then a launch of our virtual showcase. For everyone in the room, there are QR codes around, so if you're getting up later and after, you can scan that code and it'll take you right to the showcase. We have about 34 projects in total, 5 of which are being presented today, and the others I would love to have you look at. So we are so glad to have Christine Dawson, our Associate Vice President of Experiential Learning and Innovation, to join us today. Christine, thank you so much. Would you mind joining the stage? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matthew. So good morning. My name is Christine Dawson. As Matthew said, I am the Associate Vice President of Experiential Learning and Innovation here at Algonquin College. And it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you both virtually and yay, in person, as we celebrate our students, staff, and partners at this first hybrid reaction showcase. So I was granted a little bit of a sneak preview of the projects for the term, and I can proudly say that in every showcase, our students continue to just raise the bar. And when I see such diverse and impactful project outcomes, I'm reminded of just how powerful experiential learning through applied research can be. In fact, I believe that the importance of applied research in education really can't be understated. For our students, it provides experiential learning opportunities leading to career pathways and bridges the gap between education and employment. For Algonquin's faculty and staff, it offers continued engagement with emerging technologies and increased awareness of current industry needs that we can bring back to the classroom. And for our industry and community partners, it means support, it means talent, and it means progress. So I'd like to thank our entire applied research team for working so hard to organize and run this event. But in particular, I'd just like to acknowledge Matthew Jarabek and Stephen Gagne for their dedication and commitment to making this the best experience possible for our students and participants. Our faculty dedicate tremendous effort in their support of applied research and to help prepare their students to participate in this event. So thank you to our faculty. And of course, I must also thank our funding partners and collaborators. Without you, none of this would be possible. I now have the privilege of announcing today's finalists. And while today's live showcase features the final presentations from the selection of student teams, Reaction itself started months ago when dozens of projects worked on by hundreds of students and the faculty who support them were submitted, carefully reviewed, to select today's finalists. From all those projects, we will be welcoming 5 teams to the stage today. Now, our finalists will only have 4 minutes to each present an overview of their projects, followed by a few questions from our panel of judges, and thank you, judges, comprised of faculty, industry, and community partners. So, in no particular order, the 5 finalist project teams of this reaction showcase are, I think we need a drum roll. Thank you, thank you. Aegis Safety Application, Digital Signage Management System, Insight, a call for transparency, Reassurance for IRCC clients. They're getting bolder. Smart tenant. So congratulations to all of the finalist teams. We're all very deserving. Good luck with your presentations. And now over to Stephen Gagne to facilitate the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen Gagne, and I have the distinct pleasure of being the Judge Marshal. And I say pleasure because that means I'm not judging today. But we do have a panel of very experienced judges who will be doing the very hard job of picking our ultimate winners. I'd like to introduce those judges to you. We have joining us from the Co-op office, Ashoka Patel. We have our brand new manager of student talent development, Tandy Nube. The programs manager from the Canada North Business Association, Kim Perry. A professor at Algonquin College, business consultant and serial entrepreneur, Mike Wood. And a senior training engineer from Siena and my father, Sylvain Gagne. As mentioned by Christine, our teams will have only 4 minutes to present to you today. And they are the ones you came to see, so I will stop talking and kick that off immediately by welcoming up our first presenter from Aegis Safety Application. Huang, please join me on stage.
Hello. Okay. You guys can hear me, right? Okay. So in order to start, good morning. First, I would like to thank you to all the churches for selecting our team as one of the finalists to present in today's reaction showcase. Our team has been working so hard for the last 8 months. We're proud of what we have done, and even prouder to present to you guys the safety application Aegis. Before going into more detail, let me ask one question to everybody here. Have you ever been in danger situation alone and wish there would be someone to come help as soon as possible? Oh, how many of you did know that based on the federal anti-racism secretariat, there's 43% of grants that motivated by race and ethnicity, and 35% of the discrimination complaint based on race, color, and national. That's a mission that our client want to answer and take care of the Aegis. Our project was to create a mobile application to support all communities, especially the vulnerable, to help them feel safe wherever and whenever they are. The application Aegis, which means a guard seal with the goal of protecting people. The client came to us, I still remember that day, with the expectation they want us to create an interactive and intelligent application to assist the user when they're in danger, as easy as pushing the button. With the sole slogan for the application, a signal sent and received, a safer community. First, we focus on the look and feel of the application with a simplistic design that allows the user to make use of the feature the most, including account management, navigation, contact adding, and signaling on SOS. While there are several personal app safety on the market, such as Circle of Six with location sharing, AC Mobile Safety app with user tracking. So what's special about our application? Beyond the basic functionality, we have a smart SOS signaling that's calculated on the distance and time taken from the user. And more than that, our team have incorporated several uniquely useful features that with the concern of user privacy, which is so important. With this one, user will be the person who decide what information and data they want to share with. We get a team of 6 with different skills come across each other with the sole outcome, sole purpose of accomplishing the client idea with a working application. At first, individually, it was challenging for each of us to recognize our strengths, weaknesses, and roles. However, going through the whole complete process, realizing that solving problems does not need only technical skill, but also interpersonal skill as well. At first, we conducted research, analysis, testing to ensure that we met all the functional design, performance, and implementation requirements. Along with that, we set up multiple meetings to make sure that we have everybody on the same page and getting feedback on our products. Aegis is a big idea, and we have to start it from scratch. Anything can go off track, right? So we had to develop a skill to best approach this project. One of the biggest challenges with keeping everything within the scope for our time frame, along with all the hard work we have to do. At the start, we thought that our feature easily implemented, but no way. Halfway through, we have to realize that, okay, we have to more focus on this task to make the client goal. And then in order to finish it on time, we had to learn how to make our processes more efficient using Jira as a project management tool to break down the scope and break down the tasks to better organizing accordingly to the workload. This tool also helped to reduce the stress, facilitate the team productivity. Our team also used a development version control tool called Git. This allows seamless collaboration at the same time with all the members, but everything good gonna come to an end. It was amazing to work and build edges along with my team member. We gained so many valuable skills. For the future, we're glad to work on something this big and that will help the community as well. We want to thank our client, our professor, and Algonquin College for giving us the opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Huang. Don't go too far. I'd like to call up the rest of the Aegis team now to take some questions from our judges. Judges, we will have 2 minutes for questions. That's probably one question per judge. So who has the first question for the Aegis team? Yeah, should be on.
Hello. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the client and more about what their needs were related to.
Sorry.
Absolutely. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about your client and what their issue and needs were related to.
Okay, so they are like business people. They have their own morning job. They're all busy with the work, and then they have the idea. They want to start up. What do they want? They think about the society. Maybe they have some issue with going at night at 10 or 10 p.m. from their work, and then they have issue. Cannot contact anyone. What about easily at pushing the button and sending SOS to your contact that you trusted, like your mom, your family, your friend?
All right, we have time for one more question. Ashoka?
So this is just a follow-up question. This works perfect. So just follow-up question to that. So if it does go to the contact list as the SOS, so is the responsibility then of the contacts to call the police for, or is the idea that, so what would be the purpose of sending to the contacts?
Okay, so what's happening is it could be, let's say you're working at night and then you're not in real trouble, but then it just detects and sends an SOS. At some point, the contact will call you, and then if they don't receive, and let's say it goes to voicemail automatically, and then they start worrying, then they can call for extra help. It could be the police or something else, or come pick you up.
All right, thank you, team. That is all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Aegis team. All right, at this time, I would like to call upon our second team. Ryan, can you tell us about the Digital Signage Management Project?
All right, you guys hear me well? All right, so hi everybody, my name is Ryan Ariola, and I'm the team lead for our digital signage management app. So I'm excited to talk about all the amazing experiences we had and the lessons we've learned, but first, what is digital signage? So those digital displays you see all around Times Square and in airports, menus at restaurants, and even throughout the hallways of this campus, you can see two right next to me right now, these are all examples of digital signage. So digital signage is being massively adopted by several industries because it allows for real-time content modification and the usage of dynamic and transitional content, which increases engagement and overall amount of information. So because of this, the digital signage industry is estimated to be worth $27.8 billion by 2026 at a growth rate of 11.2%, all while being more environmentally sustainable than its traditional paper and vinyl billboard counterparts. So our client, Arthur Howarth, has seen the opportunities present in this rapidly growing industry. And our team of 10 developers were tasked with engineering its vision from the ground up. And as a result, we created an app that is a content management system, an endpoint status monitoring system, and a device management system, all in one. So our client has put an emphasis on reliability, scalability, maintainability, and security. And the architectural decisions we've made for both our front and back end reflect all of these requirements. So our backend utilizes a microservice-based architecture, which allows each service to be scalable, maintainable, and run in isolation. While our front end is designed as a persistent web app, which allows our app to be multi-platform, multi-device, and allow for offline usage with real-time push notifications. And because our app is a PWA, our front-end developers prioritize UI responsiveness from day one. This means that no matter what the screen size is or its ratio, our app will properly scale and remain usable and intuitive for all of our end users. We've also heavily utilized automated testing to ensure our reliability. We use unit tests, end-to-end tests, and API acceptance tests. All these tests must pass before any of our changes are pushed to our production builds in order to prevent software regressions and ensure we're following best practices. So our team has also put a very heavy emphasis on operational security standards. We set up our own private VPN, defined our own explicit firewall rule sets for each of our microservices. We provisioned our own certificate authority, and even set up a reverse proxy for our gateway interface of our VPC, and just so much more. So we weren't without our struggles, however. As larger a team becomes, it becomes more difficult to coordinate. And with a large-scale project like this, with lots of moving parts, it can be very difficult to get these things working together. However, through lots of communication, planning, and bi-weekly retrospective sessions where we ask ourselves what went well, what can we improve on, and what are the next steps, we managed to work past all of these difficulties and develop the foundations of an app that I'm confident in saying has the potential to completely revolutionize this industry. So I'm grateful to have this opportunity to showcase what we've done here. This was more than just a school project to us. It was an experience that we'll proudly talk about as AC alumni for many years to come. And I have to say, I'm really grateful for all of my team over there. They've spent so much time on this, and I just got to say, you guys did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Can the rest of the team please join us on stage for questions? All right, judges. You'll notice this is a very large team. Who has the first question? Sylvain, you're up.
Yeah, it is in fact a very large team. So my question is, how did you manage to integrate, well, what was the biggest hurdle in integrating such a large team, or two different teams in the end?
That is actually a very great question. So integration. So this is a very big issue when we're working with separate teams with the front and the back end, because it's very difficult to develop in parallel that way. So the solution we came up with was, with the front end, is using mock servers, which essentially we simulate the API calls, and the front end and the back end essentially agree upon an API specification that we both work with. So the front end is able to use those mock servers to continue developments on the front end without being essentially blocked. And the back end continues to work on whatever they're doing. Did that sufficiently answer your question? Thank you.
Thank you. Next question for this team, please. Tandy.
Thank you. And just wondering, as a team, if you could go back and change anything in your approach to make this project successful, what would you do?
So changing our approach. Honestly, I think from the very beginning, our client essentially wanted to work in separate silos. So we did essentially start in that method. However, over time, I think we realized communicating more and kind of having representatives of both sides always kind of being in each other's meetings, that's actually what's helped us more to keep going with development and not be blocked. It's always better to know what both sides are doing and not just kind of work in isolation, because that's just not how it works in the real world either. It's like a lot of teamwork. So I think that's what I would change. We would start doing that earlier on. Did that sufficiently answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You digital signage management team. All right, at this time, I would like to call upon Saket to tell us about Insight, a call for transparency.
Thank you. Give me a second. Right there. All right. Can anyone hear me? Okay, so quick show of hands, please. Anyone who's been through the IRCC's immigration process recently? All right, so there's a few. So currently, according to the Auditor General's 2019 report, the IRCC has been able to answer only 22% of their incoming calls, which means 68% of callers don't even get to interact with a live agent. And out of these, through our research, we realized that only 33% of the callers who do talk to an agent have reported satisfaction in that experience. So as a team of international students, we were very motivated to help, and we jumped at that opportunity. So we started our research with a literature review to understand the existing research in this space. We drafted surveys to collect further information and had in-depth conversations with lawyers, journalists, immigration policy analysts, and the end users. And through our findings, we realized that 48% of the people who call IRCC do so to gain updates on their application status. And these calls are often informed by anxiety due to the long wait times and the silences between updates. So those are our two culprits, right? Anxiety and lack of transparency. So anxiety arises from different spaces, is what we've realized. For example, a lady was afraid of the future of her marriage if she couldn't reunite with her husband in Canada. Or another one desperately wanted her ailing mother to be with her so she could take care. So now these things, we realize they all converge on the application tracker, because all applicants visit the portal to check for updates and to calm their nerves. So as a team, we decided to visit the application tracking portal and do a heuristic analysis. What we realized is the application tracker currently is severely opaque and shows everything except the information that a user might need. So what we've realized is the GCMS portal has notes that are public, and what we can do is take these notes and divide them into confidential and non-confidential, with any non-confidential information being upfront provided onto the application portal itself, on the application tracker portal itself. So what this does is it gives the users an insight into the application process, reducing the stress and anxiety caused by comparisons with other applications and timelines and misinformation that you come across during the long wait times. Moreover, when a user does log into the portal, they are more likely to see movement, thereby alleviating the anxiety that their application is lost or forgotten. We believe with this simple intervention, we can avert almost half of the calls that are completely avoidable, and they get lodged into the IRCC call centers. Thank you.
Thank you, Saket. Can the rest of the team please join us on stage for questions? All right, judges, who has the first question for this team?
Congratulations on your presentation. Excuse me, as a professor that teaches a lot of international students, I understand there's a lot of pressure and everybody's got a lot of anxiety, so I think it's a good thing. Moving forward with this, would there be perhaps part of this process to have mental health resources available to those that may need it immediately, trying to deal with this process, because it can be quite arduous?
So for this process, it's very interesting you brought it up, because while we were doing our research, we understand that there is a big anxiety and a lot of depression is involved in this waiting process. And what we found, we did consult with a few psychologists as well, and what we found is there are resources like cognitive behavioral therapy that can be administered online and on phones. So we could use principles of these psychological methods and subtly appropriate them for your IVR messages or your call center agent scripts, or even the correspondence emails that go out to your applicants. So using these, I believe that it is possible that we can alleviate a certain amount of depression and mental health issues that arise from the uncertainty that takes place.
Ashoka?
So great idea. So the one question I do have, government loves to change policy. So how easy is it to update your platform and to implement any policy changes that may affect an application or applications in process?
So for this, we're still talking to the IRCC. The project is ongoing, and from the IRCC, the Client Support Center, we have seen a lot of interest. So they are looking for ways to change it. And what we are suggesting is not a drastic change per se. It's a small addition of additional information onto the application. Now, there are privacy concerns that, again, as I said, like we're in conversations with IRCC, so we're kind of ironing out the privacy issues. But we do have a few ideas in terms of UI for the privacy as well. But thank you for the question.
That is all the time we have for questions. Thank you very much, Insight Team. Moving on now to our fourth team. Michaela, could you please tell us about providing reassurance to IRCC clients?
So good morning, everyone. My team's project is about providing timely reassurance to clients, and our client is IRCC and their Client Support Center. They approached our class with a problem, which is that their current call answer rate stands at 7%, due to increased immigration targets, staff fatigue and turnover, outdated tools, and more. The CSC's goal is to increase their call answer rate to 14%. So our team chose to focus on providing clients of IRCC with more reassurance, which will lead to a decrease in the number of calls that the CSC receives. Each team in our class selected a line of business to focus on, and the one that we selected was a temporary foreign worker program. One of the problems we encountered in our literature review is that there was more information regarding low skill, agriculture, and caregiving streams compared to others. While conducting primary research, such as surveys and interviews, we found that we received more responses from those in high skill or academic streams, and it was a challenge for us to find participants in low skill streams within the provided timeframe. This made it difficult for us to validate the information we gathered from our secondary research, so we ultimately decided to change the direction of our project and narrow down our demographic to high skill and academic streams. From the surveys we conducted, we discovered that people call the CSC mostly during or after submitting their applications. The most common reasons clients call the CSC are to check their application status, make changes on their application, which is done via web form, or to find out why their application was declined. For the TFW line of business, the main reason users call the CSC is related to their submitted web forms. We interviewed 9 subject matter experts and 3 participants, created personas and journey maps, and came up with some experience principles to develop our evidence-based solution. Through this, we found a trend among all the information we had gathered. Clients of the CSC feel that the government lacks transparency. They feel out of the loop in their application process and would like to have more status updates on their applications. Many of our participants claimed they call the CSC as a last resort and the web form is their first choice. The issue is that there is no way of tracking or checking the status of submitted web forms, so clients often call the CSC in a panic after submitting. The solution that we are proposing is a dynamic web form system, which would suggest answers to questions as clients fill in their web form inquiry and show a review of their web form before submitting so they can check for errors. The system would also provide a ticket number to every web form and provide users with a section in their GCKey portal for tracking and checking the status of their web form inquiry. To validate our solution, we conducted usability testing with clients, learned from their feedback, and worked on several iterations of the prototype. The final prototype is effective, accessible, and scalable for further use in other applicant portals. We aim to reduce the number of calls the CSC receives regarding web forms by providing more reassurance and transparency to clients with our dynamic web form solution. Although we started this project with the goal of helping those in the TFWP, we realized that the solution would also be helpful to applicants in other lines of business as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Michaela. Can I have the rest of the team join us on stage for questions, please? All right, judges. Who has the first question for this team?
Congratulations on your presentation. Well done. My question has to do with the follow-up, or at least how do you measure the success of the application as it stands right now? What's the metrics?
I think it is now. We are doing the usability testing. After we create the web form, we had the high fidelity sorry, high fidelity prototype, and we did ask the users like how it is it usable, and also we have chance to ask the IRCC, is it like okay to do this? Is it like your system is help us to do that? And they said, yeah, it is okay. It is like conductable, and it is what we need. So yeah, this is the.
Yeah. Even before the usability testing, we also interviewed the subject matter experts and the participants, and got to know about their experience with the web form. And then we have we have redefined solutions based upon those pain points that we got from the interviews.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Tandy?
Thank you. Just overall, where do you see this project moving forward beyond your existing tool?
Right now the web form is we are proposing we are proposing to implement this solution in the GCK portal, which is used by the students and a couple of other applicants. But in future, we hope to see it in every portal which can be used by PR applicants and all the other applicants. So in all lines of business. So it definitely helps a lot of people as well.
All right, thank you, team. That is all the time we have. Moving on now to our fifth team. Evan, can you please tell us about Smart Tenant? From the Smart Tenant team, Evan.
I'd like to start by giving thanks to all those who came here on campus and online to watch these wonderful presentations. It is with great honor that I am here today to present to you the project my team and I have been working on for the past several months, Smart Tenant. Our client is Smart Living Properties, a local property rental company here in Ottawa. They approached our team with a problem. They wanted to create a central hub that could accommodate all tenants' needs. The goal was to improve tenant retention and satisfaction, but more importantly, they wanted to create a sense of community for its users. To achieve this goal, we created a social platform, allowing tenants from all parts of the city to communicate with each other virtually. Additionally, the app provided a news feed that allowed users to post, like, and comment, a marketplace to buy and sell items from trusted community members, and access to a tenant portal that allowed users to pay rent and submit maintenance requests. With all that said, the app needed a form of moderation to ensure a safe environment for all tenants. Thus, we developed a web portal allowing administrators to oversee the app and communicate with its users through means of notices and announcements. Our most notable challenge when developing the admin portal was ensuring we could alleviate and automate any workload for moderating the app. To solve this, we integrated an artificial intelligence technology that could analyze and moderate any content coming through the app without the need for any manual input. I could go on about the features and technologies in this project, but now let's talk about the learning outcomes and challenges we met. Everybody worked extremely hard throughout the semester to deliver a solution that not only solved the problem faced by Smart Living Properties, but sharpened our skills and expanded our knowledge. However, I can't say that this project didn't come without its hardships and challenges. Everyone's come to gain valuable experience and become better designers and developers as a result. Before ending, I just want to thank everyone who took part in giving us this fantastic opportunity. From my team, I'd like to say thanks to everyone for their time and attention.
Thank you, Evan. Can we have the rest of the team join us on stage for questions, please? Take that one. All right. Judges, does anyone have a question for the Smart Tenant team? All right, well, we'll start with one from you while the judges think. This is an ongoing project. This is phase 2 of a project. Can you tell us about what it was like picking up from a project that hadn't happened before?
Well, for some of us, it was very challenging being introduced to this enormous code base that was foreign to them. They've never seen this code before. And so it took time to get accustomed to this code, right? But in due time, we are able to figure out all the workings of the app and build upon it to improve in the second phase.
Thank you. Ashoka?
So as you know, there's lots of apps that require attention, the Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, so how would you ensure that there's more attention to your app so they get engagement and people are utilizing it?
The app, to improve engagement, we plan to add in the future a gamification system allowing tenants to gain reward points through means of daily logins, through interacting with other users, or weekly challenges that they could then redeem these points for benefits or items and rewards.
Thank you. Yep, you have time for one more question.
Regarding the artificial intelligence app, how is that interacting with someone who manages the website or the portal itself? What's the interaction or the combination of both? The AI takes over or a person actually manages that as well?
Currently, our system will detect any inappropriate content from the marketplace or newsfeed posts. They will then be flagged as not safe for work and be put on the web portal for review by administrators.
All right, thank you. That is all the time we have. Thank you, Smart Tenant. All right, and that concludes the pitch portion of today's event. Judges, you've got your work cut out for you. Please join me in the tabulation room, and I will turn the session back over to Matthew Jarabek to go through our keynote.
Thank you very much, judges. We'll see you soon. We are waiting in anticipation. So those were some amazing projects. I want to commend all of you. I know they have some really hard work to do behind the scenes over there. So congratulations to all the teams for their presentations. I now have the pleasure of introducing our keynote for our discussion. His name is Carl Byers, and he is the CTO and Chief Strategy Officer at Contexteer. Carl Byers applies over 30 years of experience in modeling and simulation, virtual environments, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence to software applications that improve knowledge-based productivity enhancement and decision-making in complex distributed organizations. As the co-founder and CTO, Chief Strategy Officer at Contexteer, Carl drives integrated R&D and product development, as well as collaborative partnerships that leverage machine learning to build the 21st century workforce. In addition to all of that, Carl is also the past president and current representative to the AREA, A-R-E-A, member organization focused on accelerating the adoption of augmented reality in enterprise. Carl holds an MBA, a master's in human security and peace building, as well as a bachelor's in engineering physics. So I will ask you, Carl, to join us to the stage, and I'll join you there in a second. Sit right there. Thank you. I have some questions here that I can ask you. So thank you again for being here. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here.
Awesome. So let's start. I gave a little bit of an intro, but I'll let you speak for yourself. So could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your experience, and your role at Contexteer currently?
Absolutely. I don't think I need to kind of revisit the bio, so to speak. I think that was fairly comprehensive. So I'll just highlight that my partner and I, Gabe Bapstone is my partner, and he and I established Contexteer in 2015. Kind of bringing our experience working with technicians, maintainers, operators in complex industries, including aerospace and defense, oil and gas, and other places, and bringing that experience to apply new technologies to make sure that people had the information available to them in the moment at the point of at what we call the last tactical mile, where they need that information the most to be effective on their jobs and be safe in their jobs.
I know that's a hot topic at the moment, and I commend you for taking on such a large scope of newness to get people on board. I understand that. So speaking of 2015, you've grown Contexteer into a global company since then. It's commendable. Could you tell us a little bit about how that all started? How did that seed, where'd that come from?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, we've had this long history, about 30 years between each of us, Gabe and I, working in these complex industries. And over again, we see technicians, maintainers, operators, and people that are putting cold hands on warm hands on cold steel, rather, fixing, maintaining, and operating complex equipment. We see them not being the recipients of the advancements of technology, and they're still doing their job in many cases the way they were doing it 20 years ago. Despite the advancements in machine learning in headquarters operations and CapEx and OpEx planning, that capability wasn't getting to the people who could use it the most when they're actually making decisions, fixing equipment. So we decided to think if we could make the right information available to them in the moment of need, predictively and proactively, to be able to guide them to do their jobs, to be safe, to do the right tasks, we felt that we could make a difference there. Especially when you look at the fact that in those industries, non-productive time is running around 70%. That's time where people are looking for information, trying to call the call center, trying to call their buddies, saying, what do I do now? If we can reduce that, then we can improve their productive abilities as well as the operational productivity of the companies they work in.
Perfect. Seems like a win-win for sure. So you're a valued partner, I mentioned, out of Algonquin College. You've been working with us for almost since the beginning, 2016, maybe 2015 even. Absolutely. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it, and we hope to continue it in the future. What was the first or perhaps most impactful, I'll leave that up to you, project that you remember partnering with Algonquin College on?
Well, no need to thank us for it. It's been we've been the beneficiaries of this great relationship multiple times. Working with the students as well as the staff and professors in the organization has been our pleasure. So when we launched the company to build an insight engine and advanced virtual assistants for these technicians using machine learning as a lofty goal. And we spent a good portion of the early days doing a lot of hand waving and a lot of PowerPoints. Right? And there got to be a point that we said, okay, there's enough hand waving and PowerPoints for these Fortune 50 organizations that we want to give us money. These two, the two of us sitting in a coffee shop, we need a little bit more than that. So we came to Algonquin and engaged in our first applied research program then as Contexteer. And through that program, we were able to work with the applied research organization and staff and students to be able to build our first prototype. Amazing. So we were able, with that first prototype, then to bring that to those customers and convince them that this is more than PowerPoint and two guys in a coffee shop. This is something that actually delivers value, and that led directly to $1 million contract with Lockheed Martin. So we can say directly through our relationship with Algonquin has driven many of our successes in the market. We're very privileged to have had that opportunity. Amazing. And very thankful at the same time.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us. So you touched on it briefly in that note about, the students and the development. So maybe if there's a little bit of some detail you can give, maybe there's a student that that you recall or something that they identified for you or problem solved. But what do they really bring in the development? Or maybe it's talking about now, what do they bring now in the current projects? But I'll let you leave that.
Well, we've had five projects now with Algonquin of various durations, everything from a few months to almost, well, I guess probably 9 months or so, right? So, and each has had its differences and a different group of people and different kind of focus areas. So it's hard to kind of pull out a specific one, right? But I have to say, I think it's a combination of the applied knowledge that the students and graduates have got in the program, together with their kind of hands-on expertise and their enthusiasm that really allows us to kind of leverage their work into our team, right? So we receive the benefit of that. But again, when we set up these projects, we also look at this as an opportunity, as this forum is for experiential learning. So a lot of those students have not had the opportunity to work with business, have not seen the messiness that actually exists on the ground floor amongst teams doing complex development. Things change constantly. So we try to structure the programs and the relationship amongst our development team, including integrating those students to be able to really get the most value for them as part of their learning process as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's definitely a mutually beneficial situation, I believe. I can attest I've been one of those students. Working with new grads, you said they're hands-on, they bring to the table, and I'm also going to maybe lead into, are there any that you've hired or that have maintained a relationship with you over the course of those 5 years?
Yeah, it's interesting. So there have been many that we would like to hire.
Yes.
As we're really driven by customer revenues. We're not a venture-backed company, so we focus on driving hiring and managing hiring and based on sales and growth in our relationship with our customers. So as many as we would like to hire, sometimes we can't. That said, we have brought on, actually from that very first project, Jack Gerard, who was one of our UX designer developers at that moment, and he's still with us now, contributing on a daily basis to the success of our company. So it's very exciting. And we do use these when we engage with the projects, we also use them as an opportunity to learn, to gauge, okay, are these people that we would like to hire? Again, assuming we have the openings and the opportunities, and that's a constant process for us.
Great. So it's helping your pipeline. It's sort of building that. It's built into the pipeline.
Absolutely. I think I should really emphasize one other thing as well. So we've got a mix of people on staff that's everything from PhDs to full stack developers, PhDs in machine learning and things like that. So we blend the research with the applied across the whole team on a daily basis, right? And one of the things I have to say is we're really excited about is the launch of the AI machine learning, whether it's a certificate program, whatever.
Yes,
here,
it's coming up.
At Algonquin. I think that's a gap in the market, is people that have the knowledge, but the applied abilities that are associated, that we expect will come out of that program.
Excellent.
So we're very excited.
Yeah, it's a grad cert as well. So, people coming in have some skills already and they're going to learn some specifics. We're very excited for that too, and co-op and everything that we're working on. So thank you for mentioning that. So this is would you recommend, it sounds like you very much would, but is that something that you would recommend to other startups and people who are just starting their company, trying to get that MVP, trying to get the move from the PowerPoints? Is that something you'd let other businesses know about as a resource here in Ottawa?
I absolutely. So the quick answer is yes. I think there's a combination of reasons for that. One is the access to resources. The other is that Polytechniques, and Algonquin being one of those, really move at the speed of industry, right? So we have engaged with universities in the past as well, but it's at a different speed, a different rate. When we work with people like Algonquin, things move much more quickly, adapted to our needs, our growth, our timing.
Wonderful.
And there's a responsiveness there that's very critical, especially as a small and growing company. In addition to that, just the way the structure of intellectual property ownership exists across the polytechnics and college system, the IP is retained by us. We don't get into lengthy IP negotiations and discussions, which is unfortunately an issue when we deal with universities, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's those are two really good things. I think the one thing that's probably a recommendation for any organization that is working with somebody like Algonquin, though, is to set the expectations properly, right?
Yes.
Again, the students are in programs. They are engaged in other things. So when we establish a contract or establish a program, there has to be an understanding of a shared understanding of what those objectives are, so that together we're really focused on success. Right? And that we're not frustrated because, there's not enough time available. Whatever,
yes,
right?
exactly. I definitely understand. I think that's one of the, maybe it shouldn't be, but it's one of the best kept secrets of working with colleges, is that the IP for companies is signed off at the end and goes directly to them. And so, that's something we want to work at socializing a little bit more. So you touched on that question. That was my next one. So mind reader over here. And your company has grand ideas for the future. You already have grand ideas for now, so let's talk about the future a little bit. What is the vision sort of for AR and AI in the next 10? What's the moonshot for context here?
So our vision as a company is to amplify ingenuity. Right, so we look at people throughout the world, and we focus on technicians and maintainers, operators. That's our primary focus. But we're really focusing on amplifying the inherent ingenuity that they have, right, to make them most as productive as possible and as successful as possible. McKinsey a number of years ago came out with a report that indicated like 300 million youth throughout the world were either not in school, not in work, or not in training. Right? That's a huge resource pool that is not being effectively utilized. That same report came out and said that something like 45% of working age population is economically underutilized. Right? They're not being given the tools and ability to get the jobs done where they need to be. So they're not as effective as they can be. When we look at that moonshot, right, it's less about the technology and more about the impact on society. So when we look at it, we say, okay, we believe that the goal should be to ensure that to contribute to society, and that every individual has the ability to be fully productive for their own personal development, their mental health, and their happiness. And with our goal of amplifying ingenuity, we feel that Contextera can help as part of the achievement of that goal.
Wonderful. I think it's commendable to think that you're in pursuit of technology for the benefit of society, and I think a lot of others, sometimes it's technology for technology's sake. So I commend you both on that mission. And I wish you very well, and I hope Algonquin can help you get there.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
So thank you so much. That's the end of my questions, and I see the judges are out there.
Awesome.
So thank you very, very much for being with us here today. And I will allow Claude to come up to the stage in a second. So
Perfect. Thank you very much, Matt.
thank you so much. I'll take that from you. Thank you. Thank you. Pardon me while I just move the mic over here. All right. So again, thank you, Carl, and thank you for the round of applause for him. That was wonderful to have him. So everyone, the judges, you're seeing them. They're coming back. Don't worry, it's happening soon. I know it's hard to wait, right? Everyone's excited. So they've deliberated and they have the winners. But I would really like to, it is my pleasure to invite Claude Brulé, our President and CEO of Algonquin College, to lead the awards portion of our live event. So Claude, if you could please come to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matthew. And hello, everyone. Bonjour, Kwe. I'm going to keep you in suspense a little while longer, if you'll indulge me. When I do have the mic, especially on an occasion like this, it's always great to be able to say a few words. I'm going to echo some of the acknowledgements that have been mentioned already, but having the platform as a President CEO of Algonquin College is always a pleasure to be able to give some shout outs. And it's great that we're able to have this event live in person as well as online. So welcome to our online audience. I hope that you're having a great experience. I know we're having a lot of fun here this morning in person in a beautiful Nawapan room here at the college. This is hopefully the beginning of more in-person activity as we continue to see a wind down of the effects of the pandemic and able to resume more in-person activities. Now, throughout each academic term, hundreds of Algonquin College students, as we see here today, work with industry partners to explore new ideas, develop new solutions, and create new opportunities. And this showcase, the Reaction Showcase, is our opportunity to celebrate this wonderful work and the great results, as you saw this morning. Now, whether it's happening in class or through interdisciplinary projects, experiential learning is an invaluable tool for enhancing the quality of our curriculum. Our graduates leave our college with knowledge, with skills, and importantly, extremely valuable experience that will set them on a path to becoming future leaders in their respective sector. As I walk around our campus and I see more and more learners returning, I see countless examples of the skills and ambitions that our society will need in the years to come. Events like this one are an absolute confirmation of this. So thank you for all your hard work to our learners here. Whether you're finalists or not, everyone who participates in a project rises to the occasion by solving problems from our community, industry partners, agencies. They innovate, they pursue ideas with the strength of courage and convictions, and we've heard some of this morning, that I know our employers are looking for, not just only for today's workforce, but also the workforce of the future. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the commitment and the efforts of our hardworking, dedicated faculty and staff, individuals who work tirelessly to support their learners through these experiential learning journeys. So thank you for your guidance, and thank you for your mentorship of our learners. Across our college, students work on a wide range of projects, whether it's exploring new technologies, we saw some of that, examining business processes to improve them, or bring about social change. Our students engage in an incredible network of invaluable industry and community partners. In any project or endeavor, working together benefits all of us, from large enterprises to small businesses and local community. And so we are thankful to our partners for the real world opportunities that they bring to our college and our learners. Now, finally, I'd like to also recognize and thank our funding agencies such as NSERC, OCI, sorry, I shouldn't use acronyms here, Natural Science and Engineering Research Council, Ontario Centre for Innovation, or Social Sciences Humanities Research Council, to name a few. Without their support, these projects would not be possible. So congratulations to everyone to bring to life new ideas and create new and improved products and services. You should all be proud of the work that you've done over the past few months. I know I am, and I've had a chance to view all of the projects that were on the portal. Very exciting work that was done. I know the first round of judges had their work cut out to get to select the 5 finalists you saw here today. The same can be said to our judge of panel list here that did the same thing this morning to reach the final conclusion. And I do have the envelope. It's not the envelope, but it's kind of like the envelope here. They've made their decision. So I'm now here to announce, with the help of Christine, who will hand out the awards to each team. And what we're going to ask you is, as I call out the teams, starting from top third, top second, and then the first, I would like to invite each group to join me and Christine on stage as I call their names. All right. So in third place, there you go, drum roll, Digital Signage Management System. Come on forward. Oh my gosh, it's a large group. Are you going to manage this? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Congratulations. Well done. All right, walk safely off stage there. Wonderful. Congratulations to Digital Signage Management System. Our second place this morning, Insight, a call for transparency. well done. Insight, a call for transparency. And in first place, final drum roll, Smart Tenant, come forward. All right, and that concludes my part of the event. I think I'm turning this back to you, Matthew, right? Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Claude. Thank you very much, Christine. Congratulations to all of the finalist teams. I was part of that preliminary judging round, and I can tell you we were on about a 1-point spread. There were a couple tiebreakers there just to get into this top 5. So 100% excellent work by everyone, and just amazing job. I would like to extend my gratitude to everyone else in the room in attendance, and give a big thank you to everybody for their hard work. I know there's a lot from the team at the welcome booth, sitting in the back, doing chat, the ITS crew. I'm not going to name everyone, but if you've helped, and I really, really thank you for giving your time, your effort, and just dedicating to making this a wonderful event. And so with that, we are at the end of this term's reaction showcase. Yes, there are 3 a year, and we've only seen a little bit. We mentioned there's 34 projects to go and view on our virtual showcase. So we have a place where you can go and view posters like that, videos from the projects. You can get in contact with the team. I've had a few people emailing me from live saying, hey, I'd really like to talk to that student. Can you connect me, please? So students, I'll be connecting some of you in the near future. And that's why we do this, because we want to see students work, and we want employers to know where they can go find those students to get them to do that work and build their careers and their futures together. So if you would like to go see all of that and get in contact with some students, you have been sent an email. There's a survey in that email. Me personally, I'd love it if you gave us some feedback on the event. There's also going to be a link directly in that email. Should be heading out within the hour or so. You should get it. And then finally, if you're all up to speed with QR codes, there's a couple little tent cards around the room, and you can just scan that and it'll take you right to the gallery. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to be celebrating all day, celebrating the showcase, and look out on social media. We're going to have a recap video. We're going to be celebrating the winners. So check us out, and we'll be celebrating together for the rest of probably the next week or so. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.